All right, let's move on to the nurturing and post-webinar. How do we actually follow up with these leads, keep them engaged, and get them to actually convert? Kathryn, what is your specific hack or trick to tailor your nurturing sequences?
So time is everything. You want to be saying thank you to your registrants immediately after the event, and not just that generic thank you for attending, like great to have you guys. No, that doesn't work. You need to tailor it to the content that was within the session, and then also have a very clear call to action. So again, going back to yesterday, we actually hosted a panel on capital efficiency for bootstrapped founders, and our senior data head of insights, she just released a report around VC-backed versus bootstrapped companies. And at ChartMogul, we're really fortunate because we have proprietary data from over 2,500 companies. So that allows us to enrich that content with actual real life examples and real life data points. And I think that makes that content more valuable. So we'll always loop in some sort of element there. Again, it's very top of the funnel for us. So we will never say after an event, hey, we've heard a little bit about ChartMogul, here's a free demo. No, that's not how we see it works. We'll always loop them into some other content, some other event that's happening. And yeah, I think what's really important is to continue to provide that value. I know that's a very generic word, but yeah, good educational content that allows people to really trust your brand and trust your voice on these particular topics. So that's crucial for us. I think another element of it is personalization. So within your emails, Cody knows all about this. It's not a case of generic, hey, the name needs to be included. You know, if there was a question that was asked during the session, make sure that that's answered. We're trying our best as possible. Sometimes we don't follow up with everyone, but I've really noticed that when we do, it's really appreciated and there'll be a returning attendee for us. We also kind of have started this approach and building this into our emails is getting the panelists that we have on answering these questions via a different platform and then embedding those into our emails. Again, it's that video content. People, I feel like in this day and age, I don't want to say everyone is developing popcorn brain, but we like information, we like it quick, we like it fast. So I think, yeah, embedding that kind of question and answers with a video in your email campaign is also a really strong way to nurture those attendees post-event.
Yeah, I really like that video to answer. I think it's a great idea. It's a little bit of work, it's a little bit of time, but definitely an effective way. I know we have some customers who create a PDF with the full list of questions that were asked, answers, a little bit more tailored answers, and they send that out after to all the attendees and no-shows to give the full recap. Cody, any tips and tricks on your side for the nurturing piece?
Yeah, I mean, kind of a +1 to everything Kathryn said as well. And on the personalization piece, I always like real world examples because sometimes tech can get so like in the weeds of data and things. But the way that I try to push myself to stay in this lens is like, say Kathryn and I, let's say we meet at a farmer's market. I'm selling fruit. I'm selling, I don't know, apples. And Kathryn walks up and is like, I'm looking for oranges, you know, and we have a good discussion. You know, I'm going to have oranges in tomorrow, you know, come back tomorrow type of a thing. And let's say that like Kathryn goes home that night and gets an email from me and I say like, pineapples are here, want to buy some pineapples. She might be like, what the heck? I just talked to them. I just told him that I want oranges and they didn't have them. And then now they're sending me something about pineapples. It would be like strange. Like she probably wouldn't come back to my farm stand at that point. So I try to keep that lens of like, if I send this email to this person and they've told me something about what they want or what they need, I need to make sure that I'm not sending them something completely random else. Otherwise, it's probably not going to help create that like momentum, that next step. So I guess what I'm coming back to is we kind of look at webinars as a data source, really. Like this is an opportunity to, one, you see what people are interested in. So if they sign up for this topic, they must be at least somewhat interested in this topic. And if you've aligned those topics to kind of what your business is, you know, the problems you solve or the topics that are most related to your business, like that's going to help show you that they're interested in at least the first parts of what your business is about. So we kind of look at it like that. But then, and shout out to Livestorm. I've used a few different webinar platforms, and Livestorm is the one that makes it easiest to use the data after an event. So the polls and the questions in the chat, for example, the poll information, you can get access to some of this stuff on what people are answering about different channels and things like that. So imagine somebody said, hey, we only do educational sessions in the poll. And I followed up with you based on like, hey, want to do, more demo webinars. Like maybe that's what you want to do, but like we could totally personalize it based on kind of what that poll information is. So we try to see it as the webinar is another source of information. How can we use that to be the best stewards of our customers and our prospects who are wanting something from us? My one quick example, if I could share a quick visual, I pulled this. This is an example from one of our like post-webinar campaigns. And a lot of times in our webinars, since we're working with folks who are struggling with issues on all parts of the customer journey. So some people are working on activation, some people are having issues with churn, some people trying to drive product adoption, kind of in the middle. So we always ask in our webinars, what part of the customer journey is your current priority? Just so we can get a pulse check. And then what we try to do is after the event, based on what they answer that poll, we try to follow up with a personalized piece of content based on, as you can see, that branch on the far left is retention. The branch there on the middle is activation, onboarding. So hopefully if they've told us that onboarding is our big issue, we can kind of provide the guide or the follow-up content that helps them get towards that. But yeah, we're just always trying to be the one that gives people oranges if they're asking for oranges, or apples if they're asking for apples. And digital events are a great data source for that type of thing.
Yeah, I think that the live events, the big advantage is you're going to have that direct feedback and interaction and see what's working through polls, questions, asking questions, and keeping that engagement is going to be great. And you definitely want to leverage it after. I mean, we do it with specific polls of, are you interested in this topic, or do you want to hear more about this or that feature, depending on what type of webinar we are running and the type of goal. Is it lead generation, or is it really activating and pushing the person through the funnel? Just in terms of follow-up at Livestorm, we have different parts. We're definitely going to be doing something very tailored when there's those hand raisers with specific polls or specific questions, and they are going to be sent directly to sales teams if they're very, very warm. And then the rest, it's going to depend. Are you a customer? Are you a user? Then you're going to go into a specific sequence. And if you're in that really lead bucket, the lead is going to be graded, and then it's really going to be sequences, email sequences based on the content that you've downloaded or the type of webinar that you've attended, and then trying to push you into that become a free user type of sequence bucket with those types of CTAs. But then there's always going to be that punctual nurturing of download this content or attend this webinar based on what you've attended in the past.
100% to that. I think if I just add to that data piece within Livestorm, and what we actually look at quite a lot is the region. Where are people tuning in from? Our customers are predominantly based in North America, EMEA, but they're all over the world. And what we found through the data is like, oh, there's a lot of people coming from Spain. There's a lot of people consuming our content there. And yeah, it's another way to kind of feed back to the wider team of, okay, we're getting engagement in these places that we're not really focusing many efforts in. And I've found that data kind of enrichment almost has been really helpful to the team. So yeah, I would say to folks using tools like Livestorm to think about those kind of data sources as well, and where else they can be used in the organization and not just within your events program.